Hi, y'all. I'm Allison. Let's talk science fiction. This will be spoiler free. If I do give away a little bit of the plot, I will be sure and put a big old tag on the screen and mark it down in the chapters below so you can easily skip it. I don't want to ruin anything. So let's get into the first book, shall we? We've got 3 to talk about. Artemis by Andy Weir. I had such high hopes for this book. So I gave this one 4 stars. I enjoyed it, but not quite as much as I did The Martian. So even though this is set on the moon and it's definitely science fiction, it felt more like a thriller, specifically a heist book. And I think if I had gone into it with that frame of mind, I might have rated it a little bit higher, but maybe not. It is a good book, just not on the Martian level, which I thought was just gold. Loved that one. So I did like the characters, but at no point was I really that concerned for the main character, Jazz. She felt kind of charmed for me that you feel like it's going to work out in her favor no matter what situation she's in. And I think that was part of, it wasn't quite as harrowing as The Martian was. On that one, you were just like, oh my God, you could feel his desperation. To where this one, it just didn't quite have that level of intensity to it. There were plenty of humorous moments, which is definitely something I was looking for when I was reading this book, and I was glad to find them. There's especially a side character, Sabota. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll put it on the screen for you. Loved him. He is just, yeah, great character that it made me smile whenever he was in there. He's just kind of out there and completely oblivious, scientific, and doesn't really quite understand how to relate to a woman, and his naivete is just, it's charming. So the world building in this is quite impressive. There is quite a bit of science, but even though I am not scientifically minded, I didn't necessarily have a hard time keeping up with it, which I was grateful for. I didn't feel like it was over my head. I could follow along with the principles that were being discussed and used throughout the book to pull off this heist. And there were some really interesting concepts on how you could go about colonizing the moon, which I found quite intriguing. It seemed pretty realistic to me. Again, not a scientist, so it was fast-paced. It was a page-turner. I think it's worth rereading again. So like I said, I think the key to this, go in thinking thriller that happens to be set on the moon, and you'll probably enjoy it more than if you're going in expecting something more along the lines of The Martian. So there we go. I do recommend it. And I am looking forward to continuing with Andy Weir. So I still have Project Hail Mary waiting on my shelves oh so patiently. So let's move on. I did it. I read my first Sanderson, and if this is any indication of his writing, then I think it's safe to say I'm a fan. I really enjoyed the way this one was written and the pacing. So, and if you like training, as a trope, learning a skill or anything, the whole training aspect of it, then you would definitely enjoy this one, because a bulk of the book is spent on learning how to pilot a fighter jet. And we have a society that is living underground, and the elite of the society are their pilots who are defending the underground colonies against the aliens that come in and invade all the time, the Krell. And our main character, Spencer, with her, and her call sign is Spin. I found her endearing. I really liked her, and I liked her outlook. She's a real go-getter, and she's just determined. She's going to do what needs to be done. She doesn't complain. She's just, this is it, and this is the hand I was dealt, so I'm going to make the best of it. Her father, at the very beginning, is branded a coward, and she has lived her whole life under that stigma, and unfortunately, it's going to limit her prospects for the future. But her dream is to become a pilot like he was, and she is determined to make it happen. So one of the side characters in here that stole my heart, we have AI. So if you like that trip as well, and it's called Mbot. Loved this character. I think it definitely propelled the story along, gave some comedic relief, and it was just so well done that, yeah, the relationships between all the characters I highly enjoyed, and I was able to keep up with the environment and with the politics and everything that was going on. And Spencer has to learn how to balance her ideals against reality. At the beginning, she's quite over the top in her ideology, and it's just adorable. And as the story progresses, she goes through quite a bit of growth and realizes that, life isn't necessarily as black and white as she thought. So I do think I will probably enjoy this one more on a reread, because I did have a little bit of a hard time picturing some aspects of the environment, especially the debris field. I don't think that really gives anything away. It's kind of their atmosphere, and that didn't quite click with me at first. And I spend a lot of the time while reading the book looking for hidden conspiracies with this invading alien force that they're constantly trying to hold at bay. So I think I was distracted and missed part of the descriptions and everything because I was looking so hard to go, there's a clue. And I still enjoyed it. It was very compelling. But I think during the reread, when having known those answers, I will probably pick up quite a bit that I missed the first time. Yeah, there were quite a few little subplots that all get woven together. The characters are distinctive from each other and a great mix. They each bring something different. And yeah, I'm a fan. I love this. I do need to get my hands on Skyward, I believe is the second one. So I'm having a hard time tracking it down because I like them for my series to be consistent. And this is obviously the hardback. And all I can find on the shelves is a paperback for part 2 and then hardback for part 3. So I need to track down a hardback. I'm going to try like half price books and see if I can stumble on one there and not have to fork over extra by going through Amazon or something. But we will see. Anyway, so if y'all have read Skyward, and Mistborn is, I don't know, comparable writing style, let me know, because I'm curious to see if that's a series I should dip into as well. Or is he kind of like Victoria Schwab, to where there's a big distinction between the middle grade and the YA? So I don't know if I want to full-on commit to Mistborn. So let me know if I should. All right, I've got one more for you. Says Reset. I got this from Once Upon a Book Club, and I really enjoyed it. Although, and before we get into the book itself, I am going to bring up a publishing error. So this book is quite dense and very stiff. I don't like to break my spines. And I think this one, I just gave up and had to say, it doesn't matter. But even if you break it, this book just will not open. And I spent half of my time fighting it. It was very uncomfortable to hold. And it affected my reading experience, which is, you know, unfortunately, I don't think the publishers really consider that stuff. There's so much that goes into how much we enjoy our books. And when it's unruly to handle, that can be a factor. Having said that, I did enjoy this. This is a debut inspired by John Lennon's song Imagine, which is a beautiful concept. So it's a very unique take on a dystopian. This is mostly a utopia, the world that they've created. To achieve this, every 4 years, everybody's memory is reset and everyone is assigned living quarters, a job, and you have an AI that gives you the information and statistics on you will probably like this food, you will probably like this. It's a very clean, harmonious, beautiful society on the surface. Normally those, you know, are like, obviously everybody hates it, everybody's miserable and stuff. But most of the people here are going along with it, and you find that there is a small underground group, they're dreamers. They are starting to remember through their dreams, and that threatens to bring down this perfect utopia. Because the cost of living in this perfect society is they have no memories or attachments. So nobody really builds any personal relationships. So it's quite thought-provoking, and I like the characters. The world is just very well. It's a lush world, yeah, with just the right amount of an oppressive undertone. But like I said, it's not glaringly a dystopian. It feels more like a utopia with some dissatisfied customers. There. So you have multiple points of view that you're following. Music plays a strong element in this book. And it basically asks, what would you be willing to sacrifice for the sake of world peace? There's no prejudice. There's no war. There's no greed. You know, the song Imagine. And they have managed to achieve it. But is it worth giving up personal relationships, memories, and attachments to reach that goal? And ask, where do you draw the line and say that cost is too high? So I recommend this one. I really enjoyed it, and I think it would be a good reread. And it's a completely different take on a dystopian than I've read. Like I said, it's not glaringly oppressive, and it's not, typically a dystopian is that dark, dismal, apocalyptic kind of world. And this one it's idyllic until you look deep. So anyway, Sarina Dahlan with Reset. So you might want to check this one out. I haven't really seen this one go around much, but I do recommend it. All right, that was it for my sci-fis. So if y'all have read these and you have differing opinions on them, let me know. If you think I would like Mistborn, then definitely please let me know that as well. And until the next one, I'll say bye now.